Today, we are going to talk about where we're moving beyond where thought has been. And I see that as a true visionary way of thinking. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation today with my friend, a client, and a visionary founder, Suzan Brown. So, Suzan, thank you for being here today.
My honor, Tracy. Thank you. It really is an honor. I love working with you, and it's really been a thrill ride for me.
Thank you. And the ditto right back at you. We've had so much fun. It has been, and continuing to have fun. It's not over.
Yeah.
So, Suzan, will you share the highlight of who you are and what you're up to in the world? Because you're up to some really exciting, beyond your thought has been things.
Yeah, it's quite a bit, but I'm going to start with what I think is the biggest, and we can take it from there. We've created what I call a soul compass, a compass for your soul, a way similar to wearables that measure your biometrics, your fitness, your steps, your sleep, your physical well being. We can take these same form factors and measure your alignment, your coherency, your power, your actual power, your ability to flow your true self. This is the most valuable thing you can do for yourself and the world at large, is to flow your true self
Mhm.
and be able to calibrate to that state, because a flow state is the highest state of you, and it's resonance with your divinity. And so that's when you're the genius, right? That's when you write the hit song. That's when you score. That's when you're at your best. So that's the first invention, is being able to measure the patterns and the metrics that correspond to the ideal version of you.
Mhm.
And the second invention is called token of me. Token of me is the Bitcoin of human power. A computer mints Bitcoin. Computer power, specifically, is what causes Bitcoin to be created. Human power, human performance, human flow, human well being in its highest form, that power is what will mint a token of me.
Mhm.
And it's worth more than Bitcoin, because what's the value of love? It's the most valuable thing you have, is your ability to flow, this powerful flow of liquid love.
Mhm.
And that's the new world. Your coherency will be your currency.
Mhm. Yeah. I couldn't agree more with everything you've said. And you already know that, obviously. But what I call, and because if we use the word power in the traditional sense, it is often thought of in a hierarchical.
Mhm.
I thought it's the power over paradigm.
Others. Yeah.
But what you're saying is you actually are measuring with true metrics in real time
Mhm.
people's coherence, which is their true power, which is
Correct.
power as, right?
That's right. That's right. And it's not power as in watts, like physical power.
Right.
It's not power over anyone else.
Mhm.
It's your sovereign source power,
Mhm.
your infinite power with what is creating you.
Mhm.
That
And
power is what creates everything.
yeah, it's how much capacity do you have to hold
Hmm.
that amount of power
Hmm.
is equal to the amount of value you can create.
Yep. I would go a little further. Instead of the power you're holding, it's actually how much you're allowing to
Mm.
flow
Mhm.
through,
Mhm.
because it's not about having it flow to you, it's actually flowing through you.
Yes.
And that bandwidth, as that bandwidth expands, you're literally resonating to a higher and higher harmonic frequencies.
Mhm.
And that's why music can sound so good and give you goosebumps. And same with these high states of allowance of this power, this energy, and the quality of it to flow through you.
Yeah. And my prediction, I have lots of predictions about your application, which we've talked about, but I see this industry, we could call it true power, we could call it coherence, we can call it alignment, whatever word we want to use, as really a massive opportunity
Mhm.
and will be the next $1 trillion industry.
Absolutely. We call it gamifying true you.
Mhm,
And we believe it is worth more than Bitcoin and worth more than AI.
mhm.
Because in the world of AI, where things and services are coming at us at faster speeds and at lower cost, made by human does not necessarily mean value, but made by human in a state of love, joy, or flow is so valuable, and it's worth more than anything AI can ever deliver. AI isn't going to give you love, but if you can calibrate to these high states, it's infinite abundance, it's profound joy and being and worthiness. It is your abundance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is infinite, actually.
Agreed. I infinite, priceless, all of those things.
Mm.
I'm wearing my watch today, and
Yeah. Woohoo.
I recently I checked, and I have minted 3 coins already.
Three
So
tokens of me.
yes, 3 tokens.
There you go.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
and but Susan, this is not your first rodeo in
No.
in in innovation,
Mhm.
in building companies. You're a serial founder. But will you share a little bit about, where you started and that story? Because I think it
Sure.
really cements who you are.
Yes, sure. I was very fortunate. I met Steve Jobs in 1983, and he's the one that said, if I want to work for Apple, I just need to go get my engineering degree. So I did. I went to Berkeley, where Steve Wozniak was studying, and I got my electrical engineering degree, computer science, and I was just in the right place at the right time. I got hired by Apple Computer, and I got to design Ethernet for the first time ever and put it on the Mac motherboards. That was in 1991. And I left Apple only because I asked the universe, what's next? Ethernet just, it became the de facto standard almost overnight. And I wanted to know what's next. And what I saw coming was wireless. So in 1991, I co founded a company called Radio Mail, and it was the first two-way wireless email in the world that was sold to Motorola, who was bought by Google. And then after that, I founded another company called Remote Logic, which was, I have a whole bunch of patents that have since been issued for what is the Internet of Things. And then later, I co founded another company that was bought by Microsoft, and it put the internet on the television. I have done a lot of interesting things. The most, I guess, important thing to mention is when you do so many startups, you begin to see fairly early on. Sometimes it's hard, actually, when you can see the future 10, 20 years. And you're like, okay, now I just need to enjoy the ride. And as that's been probably the biggest challenge for someone like me is I just see it. I just want to create it. I already see this new world where debt backed currency is worthless. And we're moving into a new world where your value is your coherency. And so I want to get there, but I've since got the message loud and clear. This is gonna, it's still in its infancies, and enjoy the ride. So that's what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it more now as it unfolds. because I think this is going to be a joyride for a long time.
Mhm. Yeah, and I was gonna ask you as a visionary, because I understand I'm a serial founder and see what you're talking about far ahead. And I think one of the challenges, there's several, right? A unique set of challenges, I think, for visionaries, but one of them is we can see it so clearly and you can explain, you can strategically figure it out. You can look for opportunities in the market where, okay, how can I take my work and plug it into this opportunity? But at the end of the day, there is a divine timing
Mm-hmm.
at
Mm-hmm.
play. Would you agree with
Yeah.
that statement?
Yeah, there's a couple things. There is a divine timing in it all and a market timing. And oftentimes, and this happens to me a lot as well, is I try to make it happen.
Mhm.
And I've been reminded now again in a beautiful way. I was selected just a few days ago at a live seminar with Abraham Hicks. I got selected and I got to talk about these inventions a little bit. And the message I got back was not to look at it from the human perspective
Mhm.
and what's been realized physically, but rather look at it like just know it's coming and enjoy the unfolding of it and the becoming of it. And it's not about getting it done,
Mhm.
and it never will be done. So enjoy it more. And she even said, or Abraham told me to goof off more.
Mhm.
Like literally, I was told, goof off. Because when you goof off,
Mhm.
you're telling your creation that I know you're coming.
Yeah.
And I so know it and I so trust it that I can just go enjoy myself and not feel bad right now. And it's not even taking a break, it's just goofing off, having fun, doing what I love. And that frequency, that state of playing on a subject that isn't even related to the very thing you're focused on actually helps it.
Mhm.
So that was the twofold message I got, was to look at it more from a long-term perspective.
Mhm.
That way I don't get so frustrated and don't keep measuring it, but rather I enjoy the anticipation of it more.
Mhm.
That was the really the high point of the recent reminder that some things in life, Ethernet and the internet, did go kaboom rather quickly, but in its time. So right now, I'm just focusing more on enjoying this as a joyride, and that actually makes it more timeless
Mhm.
and does bring it about a little more quickly.
I think, yes, joy is what I call,
Mhm.
some people say love, but I think love, the word love, the way we think about love and what it isn't necessarily what you and I are talking about,
Mhm.
where we're not necessarily, right, caring for people. Not that I'm saying we should not care about people, right? But in the terms of love, we often think of that in our lens and paradigm,
Yes, I know.
right?
Most often we think of love, we think of codependent love, we
Yeah.
think of loving to be loved. But this state of coherency, it does resonate with true unconditional love.
Mm.
It is like liquid love. You can physically feel it in your heart, and it has no strings attached. It doesn't expect anything. It's very free. And yet it's very powerful, but it is not the kind of love that we often think about
Mm.
where we're getting it from another person.
Yeah.
We're getting it from our divine connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Yes. And I think that's important, right? Because
Mhm.
we have to shift our perspective.
Mhm.
And I think what you're talking about and what I'm passionate about everything you're talking about, but fundamentally what you're talking about is a lot of times when we think about business, we think about what we're thinking, what's
Mhm.
the strategy? what's the roadmap? What's the framework?
Yeah, I
Think
know.
about what
Yeah.
we're thinking,
Yeah.
and we put all our attention and energy and focus on the what or the how.
Mhm.
But actually, what you're talking about, and I want to also talk about the results that you have seen from so-called goofing off. I'm doing air
Mhm.
quotes here, but it's more about how we think, how expansive, how far can you go beyond where thought has been
Mhm.
is really what delivers
Yep.
what you're looking for,
Yep.
not the figuring it out.
That's right. There's so many like paradoxes in what you're saying that let's like take it apart a
Yeah.
little bit because I, like many entrepreneurs, even recently, and I had an idea when I thought it came from a divine inspiration. And I was like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go to Whoop. We're gonna go to the Navy, and we're gonna apply to this grant. And here's my new strategy on how to get this technology into existing wearables, and they could measure peak performance in real time." Like, it's obvious, right? That they would want that. That's what my head is saying, but it didn't go. And I literally discussed this with Infinite Intelligence recently.
Mhm.
And the message I got back was that's me, the human, trying to make it happen,
Mhm.
trying to will it without the leverage of the power of source. And thy will be done, right? So, how can I line up with the energy of what really wants to happen? And the more I can get into this state that I want to be in, this coherent state, then I get the thoughts. I receive the inspired action. It lights up for me. The rendezvous happen.
Yeah.
What has happened recently? I now have a new influencer that we're targeting. We're going to completely change our marketing strategy from just last week
Mm.
because now instead of me trying to think it into existence in the way I think it should go, I'm letting go of control
Mhm.
and I'm letting more of the divinity, the divine power to guide me.
Mhm.
And that's like what we're measuring, right? So I want to be able to figure this out so that our soul compass can give you this actionable insights. Yeah, ding, follow this impulse, but not that one. That
Yeah.
one is you trying too hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm learning. And I think we all want to figure this out. How can I, because a flow state, for instance, is effortless and yet it's full of power. You see those athletes in a flow state, they're not breaking a sweat. You see, we think your value is your effort and your stress and your sacrifice and your time, and it's none of that, right? It's just like your ability to, and this comes straight from Abraham Hicks, is to guide your thoughts into the feeling place
Mhm.
of this thrill, this joy that you're seeking, and replay stories and imagine new ones. And the more you can think like that, the more you receive more thoughts like that. And the
Yeah.
next thing you know, you literally have in front of you the solution.
Yeah. I always say that an entrepreneur's, anyone really, but an entrepreneur who's trying to create opportunities, right? And have opportunities. Our imagination is the number one
Mhm.
trait to cultivate because that is where everything begins from. It's where it's all burst from,
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
right? And we've been so mired down. And as you were talking about, like the effort, right? The time, the effort equals results
Right.
formula. And it's not that it can't work. that is a way to create results. Many people do create that way, but at what cost? What obvious cost? And what are the hidden costs?
Right. It's not
Right?
satisfying
Right.
and it can be stressful and it actually slows it down.
Yes.
That's the paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can force a lot, and a lot of humans, myself included, have tried it that way. And I keep getting the message back that, okay, but that'll wear you down and it's not fun. And there's no happy ending to an unhappy journey. It's really about figuring this out, this magic in being more playful, expecting different results,
Mhm.
not forcing it,
Mhm.
and really just doing what you can to improve your state first before you do anything.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to receive the $1 million idea.
Yeah. It all begins and ends with us,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
We're creating everything.
Yeah. It is, and it's so simple, but our human minds like to figure it out, like to say, but it's been done this way for so long, and I've done it this way. And
Mhm.
nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to lose money in business. No one wants their strategy to go haywire. Nobody
Yeah.
wants that.
Right. Right.
But the paradox is actually if you started to operate in this true power,
Hmm.
things are smooth.
Yeah.
It
And
is
yeah.
easeful.
And the better it gets,
Yeah.
right? The more powerful it gets. There's momentum in either direction.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? And if we want to gamify this ability to move up energetically and emotionally so that because a lot of us don't know which way is up or down
Mhm.
and we get stuck telling stories that don't feel good. And even when I got to speak with Abraham, for instance, I said, I've been so close for so long. And they said, that's stagnation. There's no movement.
Yeah.
If you're not leveraging your true power, you're barely moving. The analogy is it's like trying to drive your car without any gas.
100, I think that's a great analogy because if you're not giving your creation, your true power life, that's
Mhm.
life force, then
Yeah.
there is going to be stagnation and it's not going to
Mhm. Right.
move.
Yep.
I,
Yeah.
right.
The message is that it could even set you back.
Yeah.
It backfires.
Mhm.
That's what's so paradoxically hard to understand. But if you even talk about what's not working,
Yeah.
you're working against yourself.
Because you're giving it energy.
Yeah, exactly. The message is go surf, go do something that feels better and unblock the stagnation and get the energy moving. And then, like magic, coincidences beyond calculation will start to happen. They're like, and you just be like, oh my God, wow, this stuff is real. Look at that. I just went and goofed off and boom, I landed the partnership.
Yeah. I know that when we were talking a few weeks, maybe in a month now, I think I guided you to do something similar, I believe.
Yes, you did.
And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you did, you followed it and
Yeah.
you ended up in a place with the contact of the person who you had actually been wanting to meet and connect
Yeah.
with for a long time, right?
Yeah. And it happened very unexpectedly. And
Yeah.
it happened uh,
Quickly.
the next day. It's very fast. That's, I guess, the good news is the more you are white knuckling it,
Yeah.
the moment you like relax, actually, it's pretty fast. The results,
Mhm.
right? It's not like losing weight.
Yes.
You get positive returns quickly
Yeah.
when you experiment with this, and so yeah, that's what I've been I think it's just a lifelong learning, right? Like right now, I'm feeling really good. And then you can remind me when I'm going back to my old patterns. Um, But this week, it feels like I've turned a corner and having some breakthroughs. And so it's really important when you have those that you go with them, right? And don't get ahead of them. Don't try to push them. Continue to enjoy it. And if it's not fun, don't do it.
Yeah. I believe we hear a lot that business is so hard. Being a founder, being an entrepreneur is so hard. And I'm really have gotten to the place that I don't believe that to be true.
Mhm.
I think actually it can be a lot of fun.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't have to be true. And what I believe is happening is a lot of us don't believe we deserve that success
Mm,
without efforting and without sacrifice and without suffering. And that's the only reason why it it's hard.
mhm. Yeah.
If you look around at the successes of this world in different fields, they may claim that it was really hard, but only because they don't want you to be angry with them or jealous. But there are plenty of successes out there
Mhm.
where take Melissa Etheridge, who I met this past weekend. She
Mm,
said she's never worked a day in her life. She just knew from an early age that she could do what she loves and that she would be prosperous.
that's beautiful.
And somehow having that knowing and that belief is all it took.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's gosh, she's in one of the most cutthroat, right, competitive industries if you think about it.
Yeah, and she's our age. She's a real pioneer in the music industry.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s is when she was rocking and rolling.
Mm,
And now she's still interested in where's the juice. And I'm looking forward to co-creating with her.
yeah. I'm looking forward to that too. And I am looking forward to all the other applications and the journey that you are on unfolding and more people having access to your incredible innovations in technology.
Mhm.
Thank you really for creating this and for doing it because you love to do it, not
Mhm.
because
Exactly.
you're looking for an exit and whatever that
Yep.
means. I know where your intentions are, so
That's exactly right, Tracy. I am doing it because I love it.
mhm,
Nothing else will do.
mhm,
I'm not trying to save the world. Um, I think this is where the new world is going. We
mm,
are all going to be invited to do more of what we love.
agreed.
Because if you're not creating value
Mhm,
for yourself or the world.
mhm,
So
100%. Wise words.
thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Susan, and I hope you all enjoyed this episode.
Me too.